Hello everybody, we are back here on Way of the Hunter, and today we made a pretty crazy discovery on live stream, and so this video is going to be completely focused around that. We managed to spot a buck that was already a 3-star at the adult stage, which means it's got some insane potential to possibly become a giant 5-star buck once it hits mature. And it has already hit mature at this point, and you guys are going to see kind of the process of a buck growing from a 3-star adult all the way to as far as we can possibly get him to grow. We're going to try and get him to go to a 5-star now. I haven't got him there as of now, and we're going to see if we can attempt to get him to grow by the end of this video. Now, I have noticed it does take quite a bit of in-game time for this to happen, so I might have to hunt around for a long time before we'll notice any type of a difference. However, before we get into that, let's go ahead and show all of the different sightings we had of him on the live stream that I had today. By the time this releases, it will be yesterday's live stream, but it was a very crazy encounter, and it was so cool to see him growing. And I hope that we can see him grow even more during this video and eventually take him down as, hopefully, a 5-star. Ooh, 3-star? Wait, did that say adult? Oh my gosh, there's a 3-star adult! Oh, are you kidding me? This thing could be a giant 5-star once it grows up. Oh my gosh, that's huge. Now that's a buck that we're gonna want to pay attention to and watch grow over the next couple days. He could become a giant. We gotta watch this guy and see what he will become. Because I bet in a couple days, whenever we check this area, he'll be a giant. This thing must have some crazy good genetics. For him to already be a 3-star, and he's not even to the mature stage, he is 100% going to be a 5-star once he gets to his max potential. 4-star mature. That's probably him. It looks like they're in a different area this time. 4-star mature, that's gotta be him. That's gotta be our dude. There's a 3-star mature as well, like... Man, we've got some monster bucks in these herds. This is what culling out the bad genetics bucks can do. If you're culling out the bad genetics early on, we're now finally seeing the results of it after 70 hours of gameplay, with roughly 50 of those 70 hours being on this reserve. We're finally seeing the results of it. We're seeing a lot more 3- and 4-star bucks, along with that one 5-star we got yesterday. Starting to see some giants. I think one of the most noticeable things that you guys will have seen from the footage that I just showed is the fact that it wasn't in the exact same need zone. And the deer in, well, every single species in this game are not bound to one particular zone. They can move around depending on the amount of pressure that they're given in specific areas, and then certain zones just in general have a lower usage amount, and some of them will say rarely, others will say often, and that can determine whether or not you see them there consistently or if they're only there occasionally. And in this case, we had them down the river on one of the time resets, and then later when we checked again, they were up here at this lake. And I do really like that. I think it adds a sense of more randomness and realism than what you would get out of a need zone in the Hunter Call of the Wild, where they're completely bound to that need zone for the most part, and really only move if you end up deleting the zone. Here in Way of the Hunter, it's way less predictable, and that does make it so you have to move around a little bit more if you want to consistently follow a herd. But we're getting very close to where we last spotted that level 4, or I guess the 4-star. I gotta get used to saying 4-star instead of level 4. But this is the area that we ended up seeing him last, and I'm hoping that he'll still be here. If not, we will have to go further down the river and see if he's at that other zone, as he was hanging out there a little bit as well. Well, at this point, it is safe to say that his herd is not at the lake drinking zone, which is gonna make it a little bit more difficult, as his other zone is quite a ways down the river. So we're gonna have to start heading down in that direction. If it's possible, we might try to take down one of these bucks, provided there is a cull buck that we can just take down real quickly on our way. Though I think most of these are young bucks currently, so we're probably not gonna end up taking any of them. Well, we have a 2-star mature male mule deer, so I guess in the meantime, while we kind of head down to that other whitetail buck that we have been tracking, let's take down this guy so we can at least make some more progress on the mule deer as we are trying to get our whitetail. Because I still do want to try and cull out some of these bad mule deer and get some that are a little better. There's actually another one in front of this guy that might be slightly better rating. Actually, it's also a 2-star mature. Let's get him. He's given us a better shot. Should make it much easier. That is going to be a solid shot. And something that we recently discovered is whenever you shoot an animal, if you don't let go of the mouse button after taking the shot, and then you can even exit the scope, and then when I finally release left mouse, that is when you chamber another shell, which is really cool. I love that little small detail. It really helps with seeing if you land your shots, especially at longer ranges, because you don't have to watch the racking animation of getting another round chambered, which can be very helpful for those long-range shots where you don't necessarily want to see the scope bouncing up and down from chambering another round. So it's a nice, cool little feature that they've got added to the game, and I'm assuming it'll be like that on all platforms. A solid hit indeed with the 308. This rifle has been by far the most reliable and consistent deer rifle that I've used. Obviously, the 300 would drop them a little bit quicker, but you also don't get the full hunt rating, so I haven't been using that for deer. However, 308 has just been absolutely incredible. I even used the 223 on them recently, and it did very well also. We might even try to take this big buck with the 223 if I feel comfortable with it. So there's our mule deer buck. Let's go ahead and claim it, as this was a 2-star mature. You can tell it's a 3x4, so it's a little bit wonky, but still a decent buck to be taking down to kind of hopefully get some of the bad genetics out of there, as this was a 52%. So that guy is a good one to take down, and hopefully this will at least slightly improve the average genetics of that herd. Another feature of the game that you guys may have already noticed that is very, very cool is the fact that when you close your game, it saves the waypoints that you had placed. I placed this marker on top of his zone the second that we found where he was, and it's still there even though I've restarted the game since then, which is really cool. I love that type of a feature. It's a really nice quality of life feature for sure. Unfortunately, we just spooked off a bunch of muleys. There's a chance they might spook off our herd of whitetail, which definitely would not be good, so I'm gonna hope that they don't, but it's kind of looking like they're heading right towards them. So it doesn't look like those mule deer will probably spook the whitetail. However, there is another herd of mule deer in between us and the zone we're trying to get to, which is going to be a bit of a problem, as these ones spooking most likely will go directly towards that whitetail herd, provided they are at that zone, and then they'll probably end up spooking off. So we still have some problems to try and get past, but at least the first herd didn't spook them off. That's another nice mature 3-star. Seeing a lot of those recently. It's really awesome to see like the progression of the herds over time, how we started off with some very poor genetics herds, and now as we play the game more, I'm at over 75 hours now, we're starting to see things improve because we've been trying to take down some of those bad genetics animals. I'm very tempted to just take one of these mule deer down, as they are kind of in our path and most likely they're going to spook off regardless, and I think because of that, we're going to take down one of them. There was a 3-star mature that we saw that might be kind of nice to get down, since it is one of the bigger deer we've seen as of recent. And that's him right there. You know, I think we are going to take him down, since regardless of what we do, they're going to spook. They're right in our path, so we might as well take one down with the 308. There we go, he's going down already. He really shouldn't run too far, and especially if you wait a little bit after shooting them. The more that I've played, the more I've realized that if you just wait it out a little bit, these animals will bed down after maybe running 100 meters, and then they will eventually die shortly after that. But if you just immediately run up on them, they tend to get back up and run even farther, causing you to have to track more, so it's much better to just give them a little bit of time to die off and then move up to them. Which is why we're kind of taking our time, just slowly moving in this direction, not really trying to rush it. Well, it looks like that is our blood trail kind of heading up this hill. I did finally get eyes on the whitetail herd though, and they are in a pretty tough spot to see, unfortunately. Previously, they were drinking on this side, and I think as of now, there's none over there. They're all over here. We can kind of see the spotting information. We can see one of them just barely through these trees. But they're not in as good of a spot as previously, so it's going to be harder to stock up on them. But let's finish tracking this guy first. It looks like the blood goes in this direction. And also, while I'm thinking about it, I should probably clear up a little bit of the confusion that I've seen in my comments section of the first 4 or 5 videos that I posted. Because it seems like not everybody is aware that I've had the game for over a week and a half now, and most of those videos were recorded a long time ago, around the first couple days that I ended up getting access to the game, so those were recorded within the first few days of August. So most of the stuff that you hear in those videos will be because at the time I didn't really have too much knowledge on how things were done, but obviously by now I've learned quite a bit more, and this video that's probably going to be coming out in between them, it's obviously not going to be in order because I still have a couple episodes that were recorded at the beginning of August that will be going up at the normal times. However, I wanted to get a video out like this showing you guys one of the deer growing from a level 3, or not level 3, but from a 3-star adult all the way up to hopefully a 5-star mature if we can end up finding him again. But I figured since I saw a lot of people commenting about some of the stuff that I was saying in the videos and it being like, I guess, out of context, I figured it would be good to clear it up that those videos were recorded quite a while ago, and so a lot of the stuff that you guys have seen in the streams, obviously, if you watch the videos right after watching one of my streams, it might not make sense because the videos were recorded within, you know, the first couple days that I got access over a week and a half ago. Which is also why the performance looked pretty choppy in those first few episodes. Because at the time I was using a GTX 1070 in my system, and that graphics card was just not powerful enough to record and play the game at the same time. Like, if I wasn't recording, it would run fine, but the second I would start recording, I would drop down to around 50 to 60 FPS. Now that I've upgraded to a RTX 3060 Ti, I'm actually able to get up to 100 FPS while recording, and right now I'm getting 97 FPS it looks like, so that's why you guys see a much smoother experience now in these newer videos and live streams, because now it's performing much better. Well, that's not our buck, but that is the buck that was with him. So that's a good sign the 3-star mature is still alive, so hopefully our 4-star mature will still be alive as well, and hopefully it will have even grown to a 5-star like we're hoping. We're going to try and get a little bit closer because I really can't see the entire herd from this angle, but once we get up closer, then we will hopefully be able to see him and know for a fact if he's grown. That's him right there. He is still a 4-star mature. However, we've spent around 20 minutes just getting up to him, so I think if we hunt around a little bit longer in other places and then come back here after a time reset, it's possible that he will have progressed to the next stage. At least that's what I'm really hoping for, and I think in the meantime we might take out that 3-star mature buck just so we can get something down and make it a little bit easier to find our guy. Let's go ahead and line up on him. That way we at least get something down. I'm going to go hunt somewhere else after we do this. Then we can go ahead and see if we can get him to grow. You know, every time I take a shot on a deer, knowing that there's at least one deer in that herd that I'd like to keep alive, after every shot I'm always thinking to myself, what if I shot the wrong deer? And I really hope that we don't get one of those situations anytime soon, but this does appear to be the 3-star, as it's not nearly as big as the 4-star would be, but this is still a really good deer, and I do like that he is a little bit uneven, but not so much to the point where it doesn't look natural. I think this looks pretty good right here. This guy is a 6x7, and it ends up scoring a total of 413, so this one was very close to being a 4-star, but he wasn't quite there. Still a very solid whitetail buck, though. So it's been about 30 minutes since we started the recording for this video, and that has been a decent amount of time for animals to grow. We've been hunting around the whole time. We went ahead and slept once again in hopes that maybe that 4-star will have grown again, and I do have somewhat of a good sign. Now, I can't tell which one it is from here, as the spotting is a little bit janky at times, but we have a 2-star adult in this herd now, and before it was just 1-star young deer in this particular herd previously. So it's good to see that there is some progress happening, and that's a buck right there, most likely from our herd, and in fact that could even be our giant. Now I really hate to think about it, but I think he may have died. This, I believe, is his herd. This is the same location that we've seen them drink a few different times. I don't see anything except 1-star young bucks. I think it's very possible that he may have died, and if that's the case, that's not good for us. Now, there's always a chance that maybe this is a different herd drinking in the same area. Maybe our guy is down the river in the other place that we've seen him drink. I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed and hope that's the case, otherwise this is one of the saddest moments that we've had so far. Possibly losing out on a big buck like that. And I do love that feature in the game, the fact that you do have to be very selective and I guess know exactly when to take something down for the optimal herd management strategies, I guess, because there really is a lot of thought that has to go into, do I take the buck now as a 4-star, or do I see if maybe he can grow to a 5-star, because we saw him be very large at a very young age, and, well, sometimes it's going to, unfortunately, not go in your favor, and this may just be one of those situations, as I think this is his herd, but I don't see him. However, this other herd is starting to have one of the deer turn out to be a pretty decent one as a 2-star adult, so this is another buck to keep our eye on. He could definitely grow into something pretty spectacular. Yeah, that guy's definitely got some potential to be something pretty incredible one of these days. He's a lot bigger than the rest of the deer that are around the same age, maybe slightly younger. But he's definitely got some potential. And this buck over here, even though it's a young buck, it's definitely got a larger rack than the other young deer in the herd. So this is another one that we're going to have to keep our eye on as well. And that's going to be pretty cool to see what these guys turn out to be. It is now day 3 of looking for this big buck, and we're already seeing some changes with our 2-star adult. We can see the antlers are definitely different, and as of now, I don't know exactly how quickly animals progress in size in this game, but it really seems like after about 20 or 30 minutes of hunting and then doing a time reset, it does progress them a little bit at least. This guy's still only a 2-star adult, but the rack has definitely changed, and it's nice to see it in real time, the aging process of these animals. I'd say that it probably takes a few hours for them to get out of one of the stages. I imagine a few hours through the adult stage before they end up going to mature, etc. It seems like that is the way that it works, although it's hard to say whether or not time changes influence the speed or not, because it definitely seems like every time I've changed the time, nothing really changes unless I have actually hunted around for minimum 20 or 30 minutes, so it definitely seems like you can't just spam time changes in order to get them to grow. You actually do have to have some game time go towards their growth as well, which is very cool. I'm glad that you can't just abuse it by constantly resetting the time. And after a second look at this herd, I think this pretty much confirms that this is the same herd that our 4-star was in, and he's definitely not there anymore. That is quite unfortunate. But it's honestly a good thing that we were able to kind of experience this whole process and see the whole aging and dying in action, because we've not only seen a couple different bucks increase in size, but We have also now seen an old 4-star whitetail die before it was able to actually reach 5-star. And I think that alone has made the whole process that we've just gone through worth it. Being able to actually see that this really is a feature in the game and it really does work the way they explained it. That to me is just incredible in and of itself, and I'm happy that we at least know now the approximate speed that we need to take these things down, because it's been roughly an hour, maybe an hour and a half since he had initially turned into a 4-star, and, well, now he's gone. So that gives us a little bit of an idea of the possible speeds at which these deer mature. But I guess if nothing else, we can hope that one of his offspring will end up being just as big as he was, because there is 3, maybe even 4 young 1-star bucks here, and they could potentially be something big in the future. We also have that 2-star adult to look at, and I would not be surprised if he ends up becoming a giant as well. But since we unfortunately were not able to take him down, I think we will show you guys one of the 4-star whitetail that we ended up getting recently, because I did end up finding a couple good bucks and actually taking them down, and eventually we did even get a 5-star, and we'll show that in a future video for those of you that did not see it live the day that it ended up happening. But let's take a look at this 4-star first. Now, this was, I believe, the first 4-star whitetail that I found, and I was very excited to finally spot something of decent size because it took quite a long time. That's the one thing I love about this game is, at the beginning, there's a lot of smaller animals with bad genetics on your reserve, and you do need to kind of cultivate your herds to get them to produce the big males, and, well, this guy right here was the first giant that I ended up finding, and even for it being a 4-star, I think the 4-stars look very stunning, and they're very well designed, and they look like I would expect a big buck to look, which is great. So, and now that we have looked at that, let's take a look at him on the mount, and he actually has a pretty cool space in here. I love the fact that you can put them on these mounts. I think that looks so cool, and I just love this feature of the Trophy Lodge. The fact that it's not just wall mounts, it's not just basic platforms, there actually is some detail to them, and that is a really cool feature. And as you guys can see, this is kind of our room of whitetail deer that we have got put together on the live stream, and we got a lot of good deer here. But that's going to be it for this video, guys. I hope you all enjoyed this look at how the deer grow in Way of the Hunter, and a little bit of hunting along the way as well. Thank you all for watching. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, click that like button, and ring that notification bell if you guys are brand new. And I really appreciate all of the comments that you guys have been leaving on the videos as well. I just wanted to real quickly say that because you guys have been leaving a ton of comments, a ton of questions, opinions on the game and stuff like that. And it's been nice to read through everything and see the positive reception that the Way of the Hunter series has got so far. And we're going to continue doing this, obviously. We're going to continue this series on for a long time to come, as well as our Call of the Wild stuff alongside it. So stay tuned for all that. But thank you all for all of the nice comments. I really do appreciate it, and I really do appreciate each and every one of you that makes the channel a possibility for me. But with that being said, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace!